feisty 40s, the no F's to give 40s, the frustrated 40s, the frumpy 40s, the fabulous 40s. Salam and hello everyone, welcome to or welcome back to the channel. My name is Khadija. I am a licensed pharmacist in the United States, and on my channel I talk about all things health and wellness for women over 40, women who are perimenopausal and menopausal and are looking for some insights, scientific knowledge, and health and wellness tips as we age as women. If this is something that resonates and is of interest to you, I encourage you to subscribe and to keep watching. For today's topic, I am going to talk about 8 habits that you, me, we as women need to implement if we have not already implemented them, especially if we are over the age of 40. These habits are for everyone, but I've noticed that, once we reach a certain age, the feisty 40s, the frustrated 40s, the frumpy 40s, the no F's to give 40s, the fabulous 40s, there are certain things we need to implement into our lives. There are certain things we should be doing by now that will allow us to really achieve a sense of joy, happiness, longevity, peace of mind, peace overall, and the level of health and wellness, which I talk about a lot on my channel. As a healthcare provider, I do talk about a lot of things that are important to our physical health, but there are things that are also important to our mental and our spiritual health. So let's dive into the first habit we need to be implementing, and that is time restriction. We should be making the most of our time by prioritizing what truly matters. It is of essence that we set boundaries so that we can either accomplish what we need to accomplish if we've had goals and intentions that we have yet to reach yet, and to also, number 2, give ourselves a moment to breathe and do what is important to us. A lot of us have responsibilities on our plates, so it's going to be important that we designate the appropriate amount of time to do what we need to get done. A lot of us are working women, a lot of us are maybe taking care of elderly parents. I see this a lot on the channel because it's the truth. Some of us do have children that we are raising, and a lot of us are just trying to find something that we are happy doing. So we might be dabbling in doing different hobbies or trying just to figure out what it is that brings us joy and happiness. And so that is why it's important to set those boundaries, set time restrictions, and dedicate enough time for yourself and things you want to do in this here life, in this dunya. So I hope that you'll be able to get out your calendar, start by setting blocks of time. It may not be easy at first, but just try it for a day, a week. Set out a block of time and see if you can stick with it. That is the most challenging thing, is to set that time and to stick with it. You might need to set a timer or alarm clock. You might need to shift some things around because it's busy. Life is busy. You've got a lot of things going on. And so I'm really going to encourage you to set those boundaries, as I mentioned before, and do things that are going to bring you some results sooner rather than later. The second habit I'm going to encourage you to enact is to pick and choose your battles wisely. If you haven't already started doing that, now is a good time. And I say now is a good time is because we need to focus on our health. It's going to be important for us as perimenopausal, menopausal women to focus. Now, 85%, or let me switch that around, 15% of us women will not experience any menopausal symptoms. That's what the research shows. That's what science shows. However, that's not across the board. Because it's already been seen in research that Black and Latino women experience symptoms earlier and longer. So it's not always cookie cutter, these particular scientific statements, because not all of us are represented in research trials or randomized controlled trials or even, meta-analyses. So what I'm trying to say is it's going to be important for you to pick and choose your battles wisely. Not every argument needs to have your 2 cents. Not every argument or not every statement or not every, controversial issue needs you to speak on it. Some things are true matters of your heart, but I encourage you to pick those matters wisely and not give in to every little thing that either you're prompted or, instigated to be drawn into. And even if it's somebody else that's trying to draw you in, you need to be able to step back and say, you know what, I gotta bow out. This may not have anything to do with you, or if nobody's life is in danger, or no child's life or health and wellness is in danger, or even an adult, you might need to consider just bowing out if it's something frivolous and not even of importance to you. And it sounds harsh, but it's sincere. It's like how long will you be able to give yourself over to things that just take away from your energy and leave you weary, worried? So consider that. The third habit I'm going to encourage you to enact is to be mindful of how you rest. And this is outside of the normal 7 to 9 hours of sleep. When you're resting, it's going to give you a chance to not only renew and rejuvenate yourself, but to really appreciate that downtime that you've had during the day, during the weekend, where you were able to take a moment to yourself and do maybe a little bit of light reading, a little bit of just, I don't want to call it lazy lounging, but sometimes you do need to just sit down and give your body a chance to just absorb the environment, at the same time appreciating what is around you, getting in your vitamin D, getting in your sun, and not being so worried about what else is going around. So you're awake when you're resting, so you don't want to ponder and make your mind wander too much. I hope I'm making sense, but you do want to be able to give yourself a chance to recover and rejuvenate, and this is outside of the normal sleep. The fourth habit I'm going to encourage you to enact is to be mindful what you watch. Now, what you see through the eyes can sometimes reach your heart faster than you know. I want to give this example, but I want to be careful not to offend anybody. So be careful what you watch. Violence, even some romance, if you're alone and you're looking for a soulmate and you're looking for a spouse, these things can really play with your mind and play with your heart. So be considerate and mindful of what you know are your triggers and what you think might upset you and might get you in a bad mood or a down mood or make you a little bit depressed or anxious. These things should be at the tip of your mind before you turn on TV, or switch on your phone, put your passcode into your phone and start looking at things. Give yourself an opportunity to talk to yourself and say, how is this going to make me feel? Is it going to be beneficial for me? Can I time restrict myself and just be on it or the device, or watch a movie anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes to an hour without getting so emotionally wrapped up? It's easier said than done, but consider being mindful of what you watch. The fifth habit that I encourage you to do is to learn how to talk to yourself. That inner dialogue really needs to be something that is productive, and it sets the tone for your day, for your afternoon, for your evening. Be gentle with yourself. Be honest, be strict, be disciplined, but also be gentle. We as women, if we've reached a certain stage in our life and age and we may not have accomplished all the goals we want to have accomplished, we may start tearing ourselves down. And that does for most of us, I would say, or for the women I've encountered, it doesn't really do us service. It doesn't do us any good to continually bash ourselves and beat ourselves up. So what I want you to try and do is learn to talk to yourself. Give yourself grace, but also know when the time comes where you need to step it up a notch or two and be more disciplined, be more time restrictive, be more focused on your own goals and intentions, and pick and choose your battles wisely. Learn how to rest. These are things that I've mentioned before and that also play into where you're going and how you're going to get there. So it's going to be important for you to learn how to talk to yourself, get that inner dialogue going, be sincere where you are and where you want to go and how you're going to get there. If you don't set your intentions, if you don't set some goals, how are you ever going to reach them? The sixth habit I want you to consider is to pick and choose your company wisely. It's the same thing as pick and choose your friends wisely. If you're surrounded by people who are not lifting you up or encouraging you or treating you kindly with kind words and kind actions, what's the purpose? Why do you have them around you? And I understand some of you might have family members or a spouse or parents or in-laws who are definitely not nourishing you. If you're around company that's continuously tearing you down, don't tell them your goals, don't tell them your plans. be mindful of what you do, what you say around them. And I'm not saying this to make you paranoid or to make you scared to do anything, but you have to consider what's going on in your life. Are you constantly on edge? Are you constantly around people who tear you down? Are you just completely unhappy? Then it's going to involve you making some changes. What those changes are, like I said before, I don't know what they are for you. Only you know what you have to do in order to see the real change in your life. And it may very well start with the company that's around you. It might take time, but I pray that you find the supportive relationships and company that are positive for you and that keep you going and that make you full of joy and happiness. And it does start with you. Look at yourself and ask yourself, what can you do to change your situation? And this leads into the 7th habit, which is to choose wisely who you tell your business to. Often we hear the term, never tell anyone your business, never tell anyone your dreams, and it's very true. You don't want to expose yourself to people that will take advantage of your vulnerability. You might have a great business idea that you might want to tell. Pray on your ideas, pray on what you want to do. And I'm speaking from a business standpoint or from a hobby standpoint, I would say. There are some things that are more serious. Your personal life details, what you're going through with your family or with your spouse. If maybe instances of abuse or neglect, you do have to get help for that. So you have to seek professional help. That's not something I'm going to say to keep to yourself. But if you have ideas that maybe you want to start a fitness journey or the business like I mentioned before or a hobby, maybe you need to keep these things to yourself for a while. Look at the example of Sarah Blakely, who founded and recently sold Spanx. She didn't tell anybody of her dream because she knew as soon as she told someone, they would shoot the idea down. And she was absolutely right. She was absolutely right. This is a billionaire who kept her dream, who kept her idea to herself, and she just kept her head down and worked hard to achieve her goals, and she did just that. And that's what I would encourage you to do as well. If you're gonna go back to school to get a degree and people might be talking about, oh, who does she think she is going back to school at her age, that's not their business. That's your business. You mind your business and you do what you have to do to succeed, and forget about everybody else. Forget about the naysayers and the negative people. Always be mindful of who you tell your business to. And I'm sorry if I'm dragging this along, but it's going to be really important, especially as you age and are still trying to accomplish the things that you want to accomplish. Or I would say you are going to accomplish the things that you set yourself up to. Now, the 8th thing I'm going to encourage you to do is to challenge your mind. Keep your mind sharp by doing things that challenge you. It could be reading different books you've never read before. Maybe it's on science or astronomy or, a new language you might need to learn. It's going to be vital for your growth and for your cognition and your, those brain muscles, getting those brain muscles going. And I say this because as we age as women, with our hormones, and I tie this back to our physical health, even though I'm not trying to go there for this particular video, but it is important. As we age and as our hormones are fluctuating and decreasing, it's going to be important for us to stay healthy and stay sharp as much as possible, especially with issues such as, or disease states such as Alzheimer's and dementia. Some of these things are familiar and they are found as traits in families. That's not always the case, but it's going to just be important for you in your cognition and keeping your mind sharp and fresh to always do something that is challenging for you. Do something that gets you thinking, that exercises your brain, that gets you outside of the box of what you normally do. And take it one day at a time. Don't go out and try to learn 5 languages. Or if you have the time to do that, by all means, go ahead and do that. But it's going to be important for you to try to make sure you're doing things that are good for your mind and sharp for your mind. And I hope that will be beneficial for you. That concludes the 8 habits that I encourage you, me, we as collective to really embrace and try and implement into our lives as we are entering the age of 40, or maybe we're in our mid 40s or late 40s and our 50s, and see how it goes for you. I would like to know what you're doing right now for yourself outside of the physical well-being space, what you're doing to make sure that you're healthy and, you know, your wellness is up to date, or that you're, you know, what you're doing on your journey to make sure that you have a good sense and a good idea of what longevity means to you, and how you're embracing that as you age, and how you're embracing that as you enter your 40s, and, you know, as you're in your 40s. I do encourage you to leave a comment below and share with me and others who are watching this video in this community. And I thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.